It's important to make sure that that's protected.
Nate, are they talking about just having a 20-year, a 15-year, or what?
Well, if you take the government backstop out of the mortgage market, then what happens is it becomes left to the private market exclusively. So then you have banks who are basically making the decisions on how they're going to finance mortgages. Similar to now, how you look at the commercial market. In the commercial market, it's very difficult to get more than a 5-year loan. You know, you can get it amortized over a longer term, but you're going to have a balloon note at the end of 3 to 5 years. And if our government does not stay involved in some way, shape, or form with the with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and those sorts of things, then that could very easily happen to the residential market, where maybe you'll see a loan that's still amortized over a 30-year period, but it's going to become due and payable in 3 years or 5 years because the banks are not going to want to have their capital tied up at a 4% interest rate for 30 years, which is what we currently enjoy today.
Okay, so let me ask everybody, because we start talking about legislation and bills in the House and the Senate, and sometimes our eyes glaze over a little bit, right? But okay, so 3 people have spoke about issues at hand: concealed carry, Dodd-Frank, FHA issues. How many of you in the room have heard these issues here on the local level? Know that there's a concern? A few of you, not a great portion of people in the room. So first of all, going to a conference like this, or even just getting involved locally with SLAR or one of the boards here, can really keep you up to date on what's going on, what's being talked about, what can affect you and your business and your buyers and sellers, right? And then who knows, I'll step up on the little soapbox for just a minute about RPAC. Who knows what RPAC is? Okay, Realtor Political Action Committee, right? If there is some sort of legislation that is happening that as a realtor community we feel is devastating for us, for sales, for home ownership, things like that, the Realtor Political Action Committee will kick in. That's what we need funds for, so that they can get our lobbyists engaged to fight for or against something that might be out there. And unfortunately, those battles can sometimes not be cheap, right? They're expensive. So that's why RPAC is awesome. And then also, if you don't know who Celeste is, give me your official title, or Legislative Affairs, Government Affairs?
Vice President of Government.
Okay, yeah. With SLAR. SLAR, in the background, is fighting for us on a daily basis. I mean, they're looking at things that are happening right here in St. Louis with all the different municipalities, things that affect occupancy inspections, taxes, sales taxes, transfer taxes, all that kind of stuff. They're looking at this stuff without most of us even knowing what's going on in the background. And they're fighting for things that will keep real estate sales flowing, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're not aware of these things, I challenge you to get involved a little bit. Get involved with SLAR, get involved with MAR, Missouri Association of Realtors. Just get involved some way. Kimberly.
I won't go on an RPAC soapbox, but it's advocacy. It's protecting our livelihood. It's protecting homeowners' rights. But also, you don't have to wait for a once-a-year NAR conference and spend a week there and thousands of dollars. There's obviously opportunities at SLAR, but also the Missouri Association of Realtors, which just changed its name. I can't get used to that, Missouri Realtors. There's 3 conferences a year at the state level, and one of them is in St. Louis this year in April. There was one last year in St. Louis, and there were probably less St. Louis people present than there were from agents all over the state. So if you want to know what's going on, we all receive emails from Sam Licklider. Anybody recognize that name? Yeah, he's our lobbyist in Jeff City that is one of the best lobbyists truly in the country. We're that fortunate, and he's funny as all get out. So, but we talk about when there's stuff happening in the state, in the House and in the Senate in Missouri, you're going to get emails where there's a call to action. Respond. It's really easy. You put in your name, it automatically, based on your address, sends a letter to your politician of your district or area that's appropriate to squash having a transfer tax. Illinois has a transfer tax that's over 1%. Can you imagine if we had our realtor fees, closing costs, lawyers involved, and a transfer tax on top of that? It would change the way that we do business. We're so fortunate that we have such a strong lobbyist, and we have a very strong RPAC contribution as well, and we have a lot of very well-informed realtors. So you're lucky that you have awesome leadership at Prudential Select. You have a lot of leaders within our industry locally, but throughout the state. So when you're at a state conference, you're looking at not what's happening in St. Louis, but what's happening in other markets that could possibly happen here. So we're supporting other markets to set a precedent so that we don't have the same issue. A lot of times that tends to be Kansas City. But that's a great way to know what's going on that's affecting our industry. And it's in St. Louis this year, so pop on down. Where do we know where it is? I'm getting off topic, but it's a great way to figure out what's going on as far as the advocacy that's being done on your behalf.
Perfect, good, thank you. Okay, so let's talk about something fun. Technology, vendor show, what kind of stuff did you guys see that is just really cool and hip and cutting edge? Deb?
Well, first of all, we probably got you either A, bored or totally geeked out. We do sneak away and go play.
Oh, there's a lot of fun.
We have cable cars, that's what we did this time. We went to the ocean. You do have time to do fun things too. It's not totally work the whole time, even though we try to tell you.
You're spoiling it, yeah.
The trade show. There was so many neat things there. I'm trying to get my own office to use DocuSign.
I got good news here.
Oh. Okay, tell me, Gary.
That was one of the vendors that I did specifically seek out. Actually, we are members of the Realty Alliance, and one of the forum sessions was, what one technology has your company introduced to your agents that you would never take away, or was the best investment? And DocuSign was that technology, it really is much more than electronic signature. There is a very, very comprehensive transaction management piece to the DocuSign technology and partnership, and we're exploring it very closely.
All right. Go ahead.
Yeah, you know, we touched on the expo a little bit. The expo is just, you would have no idea. You can't really, it's hard to comprehend unless you've been to this type of conference how large this expo is. You can,
2 buildings.
and it's huge. I mean, huge. It's very difficult to visit every booth, and you really have. It would really take you a couple of days to do that. One of the things that, once again, I plan it out and I know who I want to see and I know where I want to go and what I want to learn about and talk to. I use Top Producer, not to get off on a soapbox here, but I always want to seek out Top Producer because I always have some issues that I want to address with them. So I go directly to their booth and say, look, how come this doesn't work? How come that doesn't work? We should be doing this, we should be doing that. And they eventually come around to my way of thinking. I'd like to think that that's what it is, but I'm sure it has to do with
You can take the credit. It's all to you.
but you learn about some of the new things that they're rolling out, some of the new products that they're doing. And some things you may have heard about before, but like with Realtor.com, the mobile app for Realtor.com. Now I've heard about this before, but I didn't really pay attention to it when I was hearing about it. But you can actually brand that the mobile app for Realtor.com to yourself so that your consumers, your clients and prospects that are using it only see your information when they're searching for property on that mobile site. So if there's a house that's listed, no matter who it's listed by, if they're using your branded Realtor.com mobile site and they click the button that says, I want to see that house, then it's going to come right back to you. It's going to come back to you and say, okay, such and such wants to see this house. They've got some neat interactive features within that mobile site that allow you to interact with your clients. So it's a really cool tool and a nice enhancement for that product so that you can share that with your clients and not have the fear that they're going to hit the button and it's going to call some other agent to show them that property. I thought that was pretty interesting. And walking through the trade show, I was talking to somebody and I was listening, and I kind of heard somebody talking in the background, and I said, whoa, that sounds like, and I turn around, and it's Jimmy Mackin, and I don't know if you're familiar with who Jimmy Mackin is, but he's like a technology guy who, and a real estate trainer, and I listened to a video cast that he does, you know, on a weekly basis, and it's just phenomenal. He's just way over the top, with him and his partner Chris, as it relates to the amount of technology that they have. They have guests on and all this stuff. But anyhow, Homes.com had a little session, a booth there, and he was speaking. So he was there for about 3 or 4 hours training on these various components of technology and how to implement certain things within your business. And a couple of those that I got, a couple like Unbounce.com was one of the things that he was touching on, which is how you can create great landing pages that convert for your website. So often with your website and your blog, you have, you've got ads that are going out, or you've got your sign or whatever. And sometimes most of us, or many of us, have one site or one place that we send people to. So if someone is going to your website, they're going right to your website that everybody else is going into. With Unbounce, what they do is they create these landing pages for you so that you may have a landing page that's specific for home sellers, which would be different for home buyers. You've got inquiries coming in for, learn what your house is worth. So it's going to go to that specific landing page, and you don't have to be a tech whiz to implement these things. So that's, I think, just a quick hit of some of the things that I learned there. And it was just great to interact with somebody like Jimmy Mackin, who's, like I said, on a national level. And I talked to him. I said, hey, Jimmy, I love the show. I check it out every week. And I was able to ask him a couple of questions directly. And that's the thing about, once again, that conference, is that all these people that you may have heard in classes or that you may have listened to training on, they're there and they're very accessible. They're all walking around, and as was mentioned earlier, you can stop them and say, hey, this is a question that I've got for you, and they're easy to talk to. They're there to help you out.
Now, I got to tell you about Kimberly. I exchanged messages with her yesterday, and she said, okay, Rob, I just wanted to see, was there anything in particular everybody wanted to talk about? And she's, Robin, I had a box shipped back from the conference. I've got to open it up and go through it. This is how serious she is about the expo. So she brought a ton of material, and she's got some extras in the back.
Yeah, I always want to see what the cool new gadgets are. My husband's a broker too, and I call him the alpha geek. Does anybody know what a landing page is? Some of the room? Okay. Well, the rest of the room, he would have lost everyone. But no, so I had this huge box from UPS, and any booth that I could get quantity of, I did. So there's a table in the back that anything that had more than one piece is back there, but everything that I've got just stacks of cool stuff. So I'm going to kind of rush through it, but I will give a list to Robin. DocuSign, their booth was great, but has anybody been using Cardivy? Does anybody know what Cardivy is? Cardivy was purchased by DocuSign in June, and it's transaction management, online transaction management, so from contract to close. So imagine if you could use DocuSign in a fashion that you can choose who has access to that file. So you have a counteroffer number 2 that's been signed off by your seller or buyer, and it's fully accepted, and you can click a box that says the people that have access to view this are title company, closing department, lender, co-op agent, and my client, because these are documents that pertain to all of them. And then from there, it's document storage. It's your cloud version of document storage. So whether you're an individual agent or you're just out of room from all the years and years of files in your office, imagine if you had everything fully stored in that capacity. It's awesome. It's a great product. Right now, I think through the end of the year, they're going to extend, it's like $15 a month. That's $150 a year to store all of your stuff, but it's fully integrated with DocuSign. So you do your digital signature, you drop it in the Cardivy file, and you're good to go. It happens the sales rep is in, for our local area. They're out of Naperville, Illinois, but he happens to live in Champaign. So I am hooking him in to probably do something in St. Louis. So sorry, I didn't go to Missouri, I went to Illinois. The other thing is there's the Real Estate Social Network. It's RESAS. I'm still not sure exactly how they're pronouncing it. I told Nate, he's like, I never saw you there. Well, he signed up just before I did. There's about 100,000 users, and this is becoming kind of a place to pull us off of Facebook to talk about our industry, because let's face it, our clients and friends don't want to see us posting an open house or a new listing, and it's completely inappropriate for Facebook. I'll get off on that soapbox another time. But this is a place that you can interact nationally or locally with other realtors and have a forum to say, hey, I'm looking to build a new website. What are my options besides WordPress? Or whatever you want to do. Or, I want to do landing pages for all the different localism on my site. This is going to be a great resource, so I highly recommend signing up for it. Cloud CMA. Anybody familiar or using Cloud CMA? Nobody. This thing is friggin' so cool. Cloud CMA, yeah, I know, I'm not going to drop an F-bomb, I promise.
She's so
I get
excited.
so excited. I love technology. I totally geek out. Cloud CMA completely interfaces with Matrix. And what's so awesome about it is you literally dump an address that you're going on a listing appointment, or you're meeting with a buyer from out of town, or a buyer that may not know the area. You drop the address in. It interfaces with about 15 different websites to pull in schools. It'll pull in all the comps that you're comparing it to with all the photos in this gorgeous, super sexy presentation, and you don't have to do anything. It is idiot-proof. It's so easy. They had planned it. Oh my God, seriously, it's realtor-proof. Sorry, it's so easy. And for all of us that you hear about all this cool new stuff, and then you go, yeah, in what world do I have time to learn it or try to explain it to someone else? This is awesome. They'll let you do a 30-day demo on it. They tried to do an event here a couple months ago, but they didn't totally understand the fact that you need to be an affiliate of the board for SLAR to promote anything. So they failed miserably. But I am learning the product, and hopefully I'd love to do something on it because it's really cool.
That was Cloud CMA.
Cloud CMA, really easy to remember. Anybody that's looking for property websites, so you list a property, 123mainstreet.com, that's fully interfaced with videos and CMAs and SEO optimized, search engine optimization, SEO. OBO is a good little product. It's been around for a few years. If there anybody has Star Power in the room? Been to Star Power? Heard of Star Power? Okay. Thanks, Nate. It's a really cool little product. It's going to interface with a lot of different things. It's going to do social syndication. Syndication is where it's posting on different sites for you. It's going to also pull in other real estate trends and information to your site. So it's pretty robust. So it's not only marketing your property, but it's also marketing you for the next listing that we should be picking up every time we have a sign in the yard. For every listing that's in the yard, you should pick up 1 to 2 new sellers, right?
And if you're crazy like Kimberly is, NAR will let you only purchase the expo for $25. If you don't want to do anything else, you can go to the expo for 4 days.
I paid $25 for the conference. That's all I did was expo. Okay. All right, and cut me off if I'm driving everybody crazy. Movinghelp.com. Loved this. I always have sellers that say, send me to a moving company, give me a referral. And everybody goes to 2 men with a tractor, 2 men and whatever. And then they're like, oh my gosh, they're so expensive. Maybe I'll just U-Haul it. Well, I'm too old for U-Haul. This company will give you a list of everybody in the market with referrals that you know that they're a decent company, of people that have used them and testimonials, so that your client can pick some different options.
Hey, Kimberly, tell me about you were talking about it before the class, the realtor.
Realtor benefits?
Yes.
That's down here.
Well, that's at the
I'm
bottom.
getting there. Okay, so realtor benefits programs. Anybody ever gone to realtor.org and looked into realtor benefits? Well, it's growing. It's so cool. There's so much great stuff, whether you're traveling with Hertz Rent-A-Car or you're looking to DocuSign. I mean, DocuSign is typically $230-something a year, but for realtors, it's $180. They typically have a $50 promo, so you can get it for as cheap as $150 or $130. But yeah, all the realtor benefit stuff is exploding right now. They're bringing on new partners. They just brought on FedEx. Office Depot, Office Max, you may have heard they just had a merger recently, Maxpo, whatever they're going to call themselves. We probably won't see too much change for that. We're about another 18 months before we as the consumer. But they have amazing discounts and benefits for the realtors. I talked to the local reps. Since they're in Chicago, I was like, why are you not coming down to St. Louis and meeting with us or coming to our state conferences and having a booth? Because we all are concerned about our day-to-day life more than we are like our local association or much less NAR. So you need to be in front of us and explaining this to us because we won't go to it. And they agreed. So working on getting them to come down to St. Louis in April because there's just awesome stuff. So I've got some extra booklets of this over there, but check it out. The savings are insane. There's so many times that we should not be paying retail.
Okay, so Kimberly shipped a box back from San Francisco, and she narrowed it down. She whittled it down.
I whittled it down to like
to
20
this
things.
to the stack in front of her. So I mean, and you've been in the business how long?
I've been started rehabbing in '97. I've been licensed since '03.
A what, right? It's not like you're new at this and you're just like, oh my gosh, this is awesome.
I tell everybody it's first day on the
So,
job.
I mean, there's so much info available at this expo, no matter how long you've been in the business, no matter what you're doing in your real estate business, that, and it's not all, I mean, sometimes we think, well, it's the expo, it's just, you know, it's another way for me to spend my money on all this stuff. Well, you may find a better solution there than what you're already spending your money on, right? That could help you actually save money, or find out about realtor benefits that would get you discount programs on other things that you're doing to save you money. So it's not, and some of it is about, yes, maybe we're going to make a decision on a marketing tool to spend some money on it, but some of it is a savings as well, right?
And, yeah, oh, definitely. And
Give me two more things that you've got.
I was saying, because I'll put all this together. Normally I'm like PowerPoint geek, but I'll put it together in an organized list with photos and everything. Back at You Media, I get realtors all the time that ask me for help with Facebook. We do a lot with Facebook, and I don't do a business page. It's purely from activity. But this is a great little product. It is $49 a month. They'll give you a 1-month trial, and it's going to do your business page. It will have links that go directly back to your website, to your IDX feed, so that people can search for properties. It does original content posted to your Facebook and your social media every week. Original content is key. Anybody can feed from Inman and Riz Media and Techlicious and all these other places. This is original content. That's good for SEO. And they also do coaching. So if you go, this is great, I want you to get me started, but how do I do it on my own? How do I better understand it? Huge. Awesome little product. It's back to You Media. Okay, you're going to make me pick?
I know.
Okay. All right. All right, I'm going to do 2 more. Solar lights. In 2006 at the NAR conference, they had all these really cool listing lights, and they had little LED lights, and I thought they were awesome. And I'm like, oh my gosh, everybody's going to have them. Nobody had them in our market. And they took 60 batteries, and they burnt out every 3 weeks. These are super cool. They're $29. You can order them in bulk. Illuminate your lights at night, your signs at night. Really important November through March when it's dark at 4:30. Neighbors can see your house when they come home. This is killing me.
I know.
Okay. Oh, love this. Okay. There's a company out of Ohio that does lock boxes. Doesn't sound too sexy and cool. And it's also killing me to sit down. I like to walk around. So how often do you guys run to Lowe's or Home Depot and pay $39 for a combo box because you don't have time to meet the guy that's going to do the punch list from building inspections and everything else? This company, their lock boxes start as inexpensive as $19, but you can do full color branding. So here's what I'm thinking about doing, and I'll share it with everybody. Imagine having your logo on here, giving this as a closing gift. So you say, hey, next time you think you're going to lock yourself out of your house, you have an extra key, but put on there, thinking of selling, just give me a call. Don't forget me when you're thinking of selling with your phone number and your information. They always have it in front of them. They send their maid to open the door, their kids get locked out, or they're out of town and somebody's house sitting, and they go, oh, that's who their realtor was. I'm thinking about selling. So anyway, I thought that was a great product. They're super cheap, even branded, fully personalized. They're less expensive than what you're paying at the local.
Okay, so you can tell Kimberly likes to share about this stuff. So if you're a gadget person, if you want to know about the technology, you want to know what's going on, ask her afterwards. I know she would love to share with you. Okay, so now Gary, you had some stats maybe? Industry stats that might be kind of good for sound bites to use with buyers and sellers, or?
Yeah, and I'm sorry, in the interest of time too, though, I'll email the entire PowerPoint presentation, or we'll make it public on the site.
Okay.
But the good news is that, although we've slowed slightly, we do have an inventory issue nationally as well as locally. There's a lot of confidence that we're going to have a resurgence in the spring. The most critical issue, that everyone was asking are where are interest rates going to be. And, I think the general consensus was still good, not quite as good as where they have been over the past, over the past year. But still not to exceed, and we should ask Vince and some of the other mortgage folks to speak more specifically to it, but still staying below that 5.5% level. We're in a healthy market, as being described nationally, historically, traditionally, by NAR. But an interesting stat that came out to that a lot of the institutional buyers and hedge funds that were buying up properties with the original plan of a 5-year hold, they had been buying over the last 2 to 3 years in our market, but more extravagantly in markets like Atlanta, Detroit, Vegas, that prices have come back so quickly that they're going to be looking at the spring of this year to start moving some of those properties that they had putting into the rental market. So one of the very interesting meetings that I attended was with a company called Own America, and they represent 5 national hedge funds and are going to be deploying a lot of leads to individual markets, and we'll be securing one of that relationship for our team here in the spring of the year.
That's awesome. So, I mean, as an agent, I'm thinking, okay, that could give me something to go back and talk to my investor clients. If they've been holding property, maybe prices have come back enough where they might want to sell part of their portfolio.
Yeah, they basically
right?
said they've accelerated their algorithms and their holds by 3 years.
Oh, wow. Okay, so know anybody out there that's an investor that's holding property? This could be a conversation to have.
What if you looked at properties that were leased in November through March a year ago and look at the tax record? I mean, those are great prospects for you.
Absolutely.
All those people that leased their property and those leases are coming up this month or the next 3 months. So I know it's a great time to sell.
So not even an investor client, just somebody who couldn't sell, they ended up leasing it for a year or 18 months or so. Perfect. I love it. Deb?
At the opening session at NAR, they gave some stats that I thought were pretty interesting. We could tell our clients about existing home sales, and this was across the nation, not local, but across the nation. Existing home sales had a 20% cumulative increase over a 2-year period. The median home price had an 18% cumulative increase over 2 years. And then the income trend for our jobs has only been a 2 to 4% increase over 2 years.
Interesting. You think that would be higher? Okay. Fantastic. Nate?
Yeah. Some of the stats that you hear from some of these folks at the conferences are great. I mean, there's a lot of takeaways there. Had an opportunity to listen to Dr. Lawrence Yoon, who is the chief economist for the National Association of Realtors, and he, when sitting in the Residential Economic Trends Forum, was talking about a couple of things that I thought was interesting. Affordability is currently at a 5-year low. However, it's still the 5th best in 40 years. So if you look at that in reverse, it says that it speaks to the fact that the median home prices are going up, and it's basically the highest that it's been in the last 5 years. Talked about existing inventory being at a 13-year low, and refis will be at a 15-year low in 2014. So those are a couple of things that I thought were very interesting. And you look at the slight increase in condo preference over 2011. So if you look at how our market certainly constituted itself over the last few years, I think that a lot of us realized that one of the hardest hit segments of our market was the condos, because in many parts of town tend to be an apartment alternative. So when you see that there's an increase in condo sales, then that sort of speaks to the fact that consumer confidence is growing and people feel comfortable about investing in home ownership as opposed to renting an apartment. So I thought that was very encouraging news, and certainly all the stats show that. So it's good. That's information that I use to take back to my clients when I'm sitting down across their kitchen table on a listing appointment, or when I'm just out in the community talking to somebody and they ask me, like I'm sure everybody in this room gets asked the question,